All right, it's media day. We are talking with Wakeland head coach Chandler Isom, and coach. When we talk about this district, I don't even know if you even pay attention when it comes to realignment because you know where you're going. You know the majority of your district already. Maybe they'll toss in a McKinney North or a Sherman or what have you. But the familiarity with the teams that you have in your district, is that a pro? Is it a con? How do you take that, knowing who you're going to play? Or does that take into your non-district schedule because you usually only have like two games? I guess this year you only have two games. Do you have to kind of figure out, okay, I want to play a team like such and such because they remind me a little bit of the way that Lone Star plays or something like that?
Yeah, well, first off, you know how competitive our district is. There are a significant number of very strong teams, and there's every year it's a fight for the playoffs. Just trying to be one of the top four. But yes, having the familiarity that we do with each other and knowing each other as well as we do. Now this year is going to be a little bit different because obviously we have a new head coach. We have Coach Fish over at Heritage. And then also at Centennial, now Coach Castillo, and then just having a couple of new faces.
Right.
Now, obviously, we already kind of know Fish a little bit because he was at Lone Star, so we are familiar with each other. But it does make it a challenge every year because, being in the same district with everybody, you really can't do some of the same things over and over again. You don't want to try and reinvent the wheel, but it does make it a little bit more difficult because they know you very well. At the same time, we know them very well. And what's really cool and what's unique about Frisco is the camaraderie amongst our coaches. We want to beat each other, obviously, but at the end of the day, we can walk away and shake hands and understand, that we can still be friends. And that's a unique combination, I think, for us. But it does make it a little bit more exciting. Some of us go way back. I worked with Coach Cole. Who's at Reedy now. I was the offensive coordinator, or I was his offensive line coach when he was the OC here at Wakeland. And so, there's a lot of us been around for a number of years who know each other. So it does make it a unique challenge, but it's also, a little added element of competition as well.
Well, let's go right into your team. You guys have I want to talk about Jayden Maples because he brought an experience. He brings experience this year from last year. Talk about how he's developed as a quarterback. We had some. I mean, he's got a strong arm there. We have a ton of highlights of him just picking up defenses apart. It's got to be a blessing to know that at least this year you have a quarterback return. It's got to be good for head coaches to have your signal caller return with experience. But a guy like Maples, talk a little bit about him.
Yeah, well, you can see his physical ability if you've watched him play at all. He's got tremendous arm strength. He's got great size. He's got good decision-making ability. And yes, having a returning starter, especially at that position, it's one of the most unique positions in sports. It's a one-of-one. That's the guy for your offense who's touching the ball every play and making the decisions and getting your offense in the right plays and making the right checks at the line of scrimmage, and then being able to dissect information very, very quickly. And he's done a great job of that. And I've really seen another level of his development over the spring, and his commitment to the weight room, his commitment to his speed training, and then spending that extra time that quarterbacks have to do in the film room, trying to prepare for next year. So I'm very excited to have Jayden coming back, and he's gonna have a heck of a season for us.
Yeah, you talk about quarterbacks, and that doesn't seem to be that seems to be something you guys flourished at in the last couple of years. Which brings me to my next question: how many more of these Meyer kids are going to be rolling through Wakeland? I mean, for goodness sakes, I feel like there's a Meyer on the roster every year, and you got one this year that's uber talented as well.
Yeah, Grayson is a heck of a player. He'll be a 3-year, two-way starter for us, and being able to do that at the 5A level in Texas is pretty unique. And he's also our return guy. He's kick returner, punt returner, and he was district utility player of the year last year. Unfortunately, he is the last of the Meyer boys.
Okay.
So his oldest brother, Cade, is playing offensive line at Colorado School of Mines, and of course Brennan is playing quarterback at Bryant, and now Grayson is the last one of the bunch, and he's a heck of a football player, and even more than that, he's a heck of a human being. One of the best kids that I've had the pleasure to coach and be around.
Kind of cool to have one of those guys where you see him on the field more than off because it doesn't seem like he ever wants to leave the field. Talk about what we have coming back defensively for the Wolverines this year.
Yeah, defensively, we have some experience coming back in the secondary. Grayson at safety, and then also Preston Lowry and Drew Reed that'll come to our safety rotation. Trent McDaniel he'll be a 3-year starter at quarter for us. Cedric Thornton, linebacker in the middle, holding it down in there. And so we're very excited about the defense that we have coming back, and we have some nice pieces on the defensive line as well. So looking forward to getting those guys together. And they had a great spring, just really kind of learning how to work together. And so it's going to be a good year, I think, for our defense.
When we talk about 5-5A this year, obviously most people will talk about the Rangers because they have all those players with a bunch of stars all next to their names and whatnot. But this is a tough district. It's one of these deals where, since it's 9 teams in it, you dive into it week 3 and you got to be on your P's and Q's right off the bat, because you can't really afford to take a loss or two, or you're playing behind the 8 ball the whole rest of the season. Talk about the strength in this district and how difficult it is to get through there and get one of those 4 playoff spots.
Yeah, it's very competitive. Every given year, there's a great many athletes in our district spread out across all 9 of us. And there's a lot of great coaching that happens in this district. That's not unique necessarily to us. That's kind of North Texas in general. There's a lot of talent. There's a lot of great coaches, and we're definitely in one of those districts where Lone Star obviously has a lot of talent. They got a great coaching staff over there, and they've put it together a number of times and made some deep runs. And then there's several of us who have been able to get into the playoffs. But you're right. You have to start off hot. You really can't afford to drop a game here, drop a game there. And we've been playing behind the 8 ball at times in the past and had to climb our way back in. And if you drop a game early on, especially, it definitely puts that a little added pressure, I guess. But with the fact that we know each other so well, and the talent and the coaching that we have in this district, you never know any given week. You're going to get everybody's best every single week, and that really helps. If you're lucky enough to make it to the playoffs, I feel like the teams who do make it out of our district are very well prepared and have been to battle, so to speak, a number of times. So if you're lucky enough to be one of the top 4, you're definitely tested.
Yeah, and that you kind of proved that a couple of years back when you fought your way into the playoffs, and then you had such strength of schedule that you took down Highland Park that one time. One of our better upsets in the playoffs that we've seen in the past couple of years. I love being on your sidelines that time. That was a joyous time, having everybody jump around like that. And we can always depend on 5-5A to have a game on that week 11 schedule that'll mean something for the postseason. But speaking on that, we'll end here. That means you have 2 non-district games, and maybe your district more than almost any other ones. You really have to use those games to find out what you have, because those live bullets start coming on week 3. So who do you have in those first 2 games, and what do you hope to get out of them?
So we open up with Grapevine and the Colony. Obviously, Grapevine has been a very good test for us the past several years because they're similar to us. They're physical, they're well coached, and they're going to play tough, hard football. So that's always been a great challenge for us early in the season to kind of see where we match up with somebody who's going to be a tough opponent and come and get after you and play hard and play fast. And then the Colony is also a good test for us because Coach Rangel over there, he's been doing it a long time, and they've had a lot of great success, and they have a lot of very talented players over there. And he does a great job with those kids. And being not too far away is kind of nice too, where we don't have to travel too terribly far. But that's really what we're looking for out of those first 2 games, is somebody to challenge us, and hopefully we can do the same for them and challenge them and get them ready for their district season.
You brought up a good point as I'm going to say goodbye, but you guys really make it easy on the bus drivers here in Frisco. You got the three stadiums you're playing at. Meanwhile, we just mentioned Highland Park. They got to gas that thing up to go to Red Oak and whatnot. And you're just like, we got one of these 3 to go to. I mean, every once in a while you got to go up to Sherman, but it's a good problem to have. You save some gas. It's pretty good stuff. I appreciate you joining me, Coach, and we'll see you throughout the year.
Yes, sir. Ward, thank you for your time.